Welcome back to GMP Scenario, presented by PharmaContentLabs.com.
Let's talk about something that seems like a tiny administrative task, but is actually a massive red flag in any quality system. We're talking about the CAPA extension. You know, that due date on your tracker that just keeps getting pushed. We're going to dig into why this is such a big deal, and we'll start with a question you've probably asked yourself.
Seriously, have you ever looked at your CAPA tracker and just had this gut feeling that it's not telling you the whole story? I mean, on the surface, you see all these due dates, everything looks like it's on track, but you know the real story behind some of those dates is, well, it's a little messy.
So, you see a CAPA, right? Due date is next week. Looks great. The metrics are green, the system is humming along just like it's supposed to. But then, a few days go by, you look again, and suddenly that due date has quietly been nudged out a couple more weeks. An extension was granted. Hey, it happens, no big deal, right? And then, whoops, it happens again. And then maybe one more time for good measure. All of a sudden, that one simple CAPA has been lingering for months past its original promise date, all hidden behind this quiet trail of extensions. This isn't just a delay anymore, it's a pattern. And this is where we really have to zoom out. Because this pattern, this isn't just about someone being bad at time management. No, it's a signal of something way, way deeper. We're not just talking about a missed deadline here. We're talking about a systemic failure. In fact, regulators have a specific name for this. They call it a governance failure. And just listen to that term. It's not an administrative hiccup or a scheduling conflict. It's a failure of governance. That means the very system that's supposed to guarantee quality is itself out of control. And it's so important to know the difference. Look, some delays are totally legit. Of course they are. You're waiting on a critical part from a supplier, or there's some external thing that's completely out of your hands. That's life. But a governance failure, that's a whole different beast. That comes from the inside. Things like weak ownership, nobody taking charge, a lack of resources, and at its core, just poor control over your own processes. So, why do we care so much? I mean, what's the real harm in a date slipping a few times? Well, this delay isn't happening in a vacuum. It brings a very real, very present danger to your business, your products, and your customers. It's really this simple. For every single day that CAPA stays open and unresolved, your company is still exposed to the exact same risk that caused the CAPA in the first place. The problem didn't just politely wait for you to fix it, it's still there. Think about what that really means. The root cause you identified as being a problem, it can happen again. And again, all while you're technically working on it. You're basically leaving the front door unlocked and hoping nobody walks in, all while you're still looking for the keys. Now, if that internal risk somehow isn't enough to light a fire under you, let's talk about that moment an inspector or an auditor walks in your front door. Because you know what? They have a favorite place to start looking. And trust me, it's the one list you do not want to be on. This is it. This is so often the very first thing they ask for. Not your success stories, not your on-time metrics. They want to see the list of overdue CAPAs. Why? Because that list is their treasure map. It's a direct route to finding all the other weaknesses in your quality system. Okay, so we've hammered home the problem pretty hard. But look, sometimes delays are unavoidable. So what's the right way to handle it? Well, there is a protocol, and it's all about demonstrating control, not trying to hide a problem. It really just comes down to these 3 critical steps. 1, you have to formally document a valid reason for the delay. 2, you have to assess the risk of that delay and put some kind of temporary controls in place to manage it. And 3, you escalate it. This is not something you just handle quietly at the team level. It needs visibility. And that documentation, it's got to be rock solid. You need a clear rationale for why you need more time, a formal risk assessment covering that extension period. You need to spell out your temporary containment actions, and of course, a revised plan with a new owner and an officially approved new due date. This isn't about changing a date in a spreadsheet. It's a full-on, formal replanning process. And once it's been escalated, the ball is in management's court. Their job is crystal clear. They need to step in, maybe move resources around to get that CAPA moving again, set a firm, non-negotiable deadline, and then, and this is key, they need to follow up and actually verify that it got done. All right, now let's talk about the single most common, most tempting, and most dangerous mistake that teams make when they're dealing with CAPA timeliness. It's that little shortcut that feels smart in the moment, but is a massive red flag to any auditor. This, right here. We've all seen it.
The practice of just nudging a due date out a few days before it turns red on the dashboard. The goal isn't solving the problem anymore. The goal is making the metrics look good. It creates this perfect illusion of control while actually proving you have none.
And here's the kicker. You're not fooling anyone. Inspectors know this trick. They live for this stuff. They will absolutely pull the revision history on your CAPAs and look specifically for a pattern of dates being changed right before they were due. It is one of the fastest ways for them to see that your system is completely out of control.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this all boils down to. That list of overdue CAPAs, it's not just some boring administrative report. It is a direct health check of your entire quality system. It tells an inspector, and frankly your own leadership, everything they need to know.
And that brings us right to the final question you've got to ask yourself. Take a really honest look at your own system, your own processes. Is your CAPA system a tool that you use to show control and to drive real, meaningful improvement? Or has it just become a game of avoiding overdue tasks? The answer to that question says everything about the real state of your quality.
Thank you for watching. If this helped, like and subscribe. More GMP scenarios coming.